You open your banking app the way you always do, not with panic, just checking. Bills are paid. Rent went out. Groceries, fuel, a few small things. Nothing crazy, nothing that feels irresponsible. And still, the number sitting there feels wrong. Too low. Again. You pause for a second, almost expecting it to change if you look long enough. It doesn't. What hits you isn't shock, it's confusion. You start replaying the month in your head, trying to find the mistake. You didn't go on a trip. You didn't buy anything big. You didn't mess up. And yet here you are, doing the same quiet math you've done so many times before, trying to stretch what's left until the next payday. There's a low-level shame that comes with this moment. Not loud, not dramatic, just heavy. You don't talk about it. You don't post about it. You just feel tired. Tired of thinking about money even when you're doing okay. Tired of feeling like it never sticks. Here's the thing. If the problem was only income, this feeling wouldn't keep showing up like this. The pattern wouldn't be so consistent. The stress wouldn't feel so familiar. And that's the part most people don't like to sit with. This feels hard because your brain isn't calm when it comes to money. It's alert. It's watching for danger. When money feels tight, even if you're not in real trouble, your body treats it like a threat. Your heart speeds up a little, your thoughts get louder, and your focus shrinks. You stop thinking in months or years and start thinking in days. In that state, your brain cares less about progress and more about relief. Not pleasure, just relief. Anything that lowers stress right now feels safer than something that helps later. That's why saving doesn't feel smart in the moment. It feels uncomfortable, almost wrong, like you're taking away something you might need soon. Here's the truth. This isn't about discipline. It's not that you don't want it enough. When your system is under stress, it chooses comfort over control by default. That's not a flaw. That's how humans are wired. Your brain is trying to protect you from feeling exposed. Scarcity thinking also narrows your vision. You become very aware of what could go wrong and less aware of what could build over time. Every expense feels risky. Every balance feels fragile. So holding money feels tense, not safe. When money feels unsafe, your brain doesn't reward patience. It rewards anything that helps you breathe easier right now. And until that feeling changes, saving will always feel heavier than it should. There is a number that changes how money feels, and it's not because of interest or returns. It's $5,000. Not because it's special on paper, but because it's the first time money stops feeling temporary. Below that, money feels like it's passing through. It arrives, it leaves, and you already expect it to disappear. At 5,000, something shifts. The balance doesn't vanish after one problem. This is where most people get stuck. Not because they can't earn it, but because holding it feels wrong. Emergencies show up, not always real ones, but imagined ones. Your mind starts asking, what if something happens? What if I need this? Guilt creeps in too. You start thinking that keeping money while needs exist makes you selfish or careless. Then self-doubt takes over. You look at the number and think, this won't last anyway. So you touch it, you borrow from it, you break the line before it can settle, and once it's broken, the feeling of safety disappears again. Here's the uncomfortable part. The barrier isn't income, it's tolerance. It's your ability to sit with money without using it to calm fear or solve stress. Holding 5,000 means learning to let money just exist. No fixing, no proving. And that discomfort is exactly why so few people ever stay past this point. Something quiet changes once you cross that line. Not in your life, but in how you see yourself. Before, saving felt like something you tried to do. Now it feels like something you can do. That difference matters more than the number itself. You stop guessing whether you have control because you've seen it work. You begin to trust your own behavior. Not perfectly, but enough. When you say no to spending, it no longer feels like denial. It feels like a decision you chose. Discipline stops feeling like pressure from the outside and starts feeling like direction from the inside. That shift is subtle, but it changes how steady you feel day to day. This isn't about feeling rich. You don't walk around proud or excited. In fact, most days look the same. The change is internal. You feel less rushed, less reactive. You don't need money to prove anything anymore because you've already proved something to yourself. You also stop telling the same story about who you are with money. The old story was, I can't hold on to it. Now the story is quieter but stronger. I can. And once that belief settles in, even slightly, it affects how you move, how you wait, and how you choose. Stability stops being a goal and starts becoming part of your identity. Once money feels a little safer, your thinking starts to slow down. Not because you're trying to be careful, but because the urgency fades. Before, spending was reactive. Something came up, stress rose, and you acted to lower that stress. Now there's a pause. Small, but noticeable. You don't rush to fix the feeling. Spending begins to feel different. It's no longer about relief. You don't buy to calm nerves or reward yourself for getting through the week. You start asking a quieter question. Is this worth it? Not in a strict way, just honest. That question shows up naturally when fear steps back. Your stress level drops too. Not to zero, but enough that your body isn't on alert all the time. You stop checking balances out of habit. You stop running numbers in your head late at night. Money takes up less mental space, which gives you room to think about other things. The biggest shift is control. You stop feeling pushed by money and start feeling like you're the one deciding. Before, every choice felt like survival. Now choices feel optional. You're not trying to escape a problem anymore. You're evaluating value. This change doesn't come from learning new rules. It comes from your nervous system relaxing. Once fear loosens its grip, clear thinking follows without effort. When money feels safer, something shifts in how you show up in the world. It's not louder confidence, it's quieter. You stop over-explaining yourself. You don't feel the same pressure to prove you're useful or grateful all the time. That calm shows up at work first. Conversations feel different. You listen more, you react less. When decisions come up, you don't rush to say yes just to feel secure. Negotiation becomes less tense, not because you know better lines, but because you're not scared of the outcome. You can handle a no. That changes your posture without you trying. This also affects how you choose opportunities. Before, you might cling to anything that felt safe enough. Now you start weighing options, not from ego, but from stability. You don't chase every opening. You don't fear every delay. You give yourself time to think. Here's the important part. This isn't ambition kicking in. It's space, emotional space. When money isn't pressing on your chest, you don't move from panic. You move from preference. And people can feel that difference even if they can't explain it. You're not grabbing anymore. You're choosing. After reaching this point, a new pressure shows up. It's quiet, but strong. The feeling that you've earned the right to relax, to finally enjoy the money, to loosen control just a little. On the surface, that sounds fair. Emotionally, it feels like relief, like proof that the effort mattered. Here's the problem. That urge isn't about logic. It's about release. You've been holding tension for a long time, and your system wants a reward. So you dip into the money, not because you need to, but because it feels good to touch it again, to remind yourself it's real. This is where fear resets. Once the balance drops, even slightly, the old thoughts come back. What if something happens? What if this doesn't last? You start watching the number again. You feel the edge return. The calm you built fades faster than you expect. The mistake isn't spending, it's using money to manage emotion. When money becomes a reward, it stops being safety. And without realizing it, you put yourself back in the same cycle you worked so hard to escape. What changes now isn't effort, it's intention. Holding money is not waiting, it's an active skill. It asks you to sit with calm without needing to turn it into action. That can feel strange at first, especially if you're used to fixing or improving things right away. The goal here isn't growth, it's protection. Protecting the feeling of safety you worked to build. When you rush to do more, earn more, or prove progress, you risk bringing the stress back in. Not because those things are wrong, but because your system hasn't settled yet. Here's the thing. Stability comes from repetition, not intensity. Doing the same steady thing over time teaches your brain that nothing bad happens when money stays untouched. That lesson matters more than any short burst of progress. This isn't about being strict or denying yourself. It's about letting calm last long enough to become familiar. Once safety feels normal, your choices stay clear without effort. Until then, the most important move is quiet consistency, not motion. There is a version of you who feels calmer when money comes up, not excited, not proud, just steady. That version isn't checking balances out of fear or replaying past mistakes. They trust their ability to hold things together without forcing it. At that point, saving doesn't feel like giving something up. It feels like keeping the ground solid under your feet. Money stops being a constant background stress and becomes quiet. It does its job without demanding attention. You don't feel rich, you feel stable. And that difference matters more than most people realize. The tension fades, decisions feel cleaner. You move through life without bracing all the time. Income does help, yes, but it's not what creates this calm. Control does. Familiarity does. Knowing you won't undo yourself changes everything, even when nothing else looks different.